Well,
not
still
yet.
talking about those promises,
Yes.
if you remember his inaugural speech and assumption of office, he talks about the fact that yes, the rates will come down, but they'll come down gradually, but not at this period until after the elections, because during this period of electioneering, it's expected that there will be high liquidity in the market. We should definitely see more pressure on the naira and possible, dollarization of the economy, which is what he's trying to, as much as possible, reduce. He also still stated it at the MPC meeting, at the end of the MPC meeting when he was reading the communique. So, in light of that, in light of the CBN's, decision to ensure that the economy stays the way it stays, the interest rate stays the way it stays, will it affect how people will begin to view his utterances as CBN governor?
Well, you are going to be taken by your words any day. That's why the current CBN governor has started to behave like a typical CBN governor who talks very little. He talked 3 months ago and kept quiet and started to see the economy perhaps gradually reflect his vision. So there's no way we in the economy will not hold him to his words. He came out to say he wanted a broader obligation, a broader commitment of the CBN to the economy beyond control of inflation and interest rates. That he wanted a CBN that will contribute to economic growth and develop the economy. That he will be held onto for the 4 years. But if we are saying that because of elections, you won't do nothing for 6 months, we have 3 months of this year, another 3 months next year before the elections are over. That's 6 months out of 4 years tenure. So really, you have to say the morning tells tell us the day, how the day is going to be. If you cannot come down from 12% to a very significant reduction, say to 11, and you gave a sign that even if it's just 11.8 or 9 or something, you gave a sign of courage that's to say we can't go down very quickly, but we are giving a sign that come election we are going to start moving. And we are sending this message to the entire banking system that begin to reduce interest rates, because even with 12%, the premium added by the banks is far too high. Even at 12%, 12% MPR, banks are letting at 22%. So premium rate, for the very large corporations, they do 17, 18, 19. So if you as a leader give a sign that we need to start coming down, even if it's 11.75, and you say to everyone, because of election, we are not going to see a faster reduction in interest rates, but let us show the sign. Let the morning tell us the day that is going to come after the elections. And then the banks will begin to get a signal that this is going to happen, and everybody will be flowing in that direction. Right now, we are on the freeze. Wait until after election before we see anything.
Well, talking about waiting until after elections to see anything, we saw a dramatic change, the reintroduction of the 65 naira on ATM remote and not cash withdrawals. Now, that generated a lot of furore, and in spite of the fact that it's here to stay, we've noticed that the 65 naira charge is supposed to take effect from the 4th withdrawal, but it happens on every withdrawal that you make. If you use another bank ATM, that's what's been happening. A lot of complaints have been coming from customers. The fact that you go to use another ATM, you have the idea that after your 4th withdrawal, you're charged, but it's on every charge that is, every withdrawal that is made that you're charged. And so customers have begun to ask, was this really necessary to be reintroduced? Mr. Aliwi?
It's the big question. Was it really necessary? I've been a victim to. Actually, I forgot, and I was charged on my 3rd withdrawal, and it was when I was charged. I asked myself, was it not supposed to be the 4th? And I've heard people who have said I was charged on my 2nd withdrawal. I think there's a lot of misinterpretation of that rule, and I think the CBN may have to come forward and actually tell us what exactly that regulation was. When are we supposed to be charged? But be that as it may, was it necessary to have that? When you look at the banking industry today, it seems to be an industry that is doing very well, quote and unquote. And if they are doing very well, so much well that people are wondering why the banks are doing so well and the real sector is not doing as well as it should. Normally, there's supposed to be a synergy between the two, and we're supposed to move the same way. You ask yourself, why did you have to make more money, especially on the people? When you look at the deployment of ATM machine nationwide, You need to go outside Lagos and see how tough it is for people to get access to collect money from ATM machine. Go even as close by as Ibadan or go to the east. The machine available are not enough to serve the people. And don't forget, the bank itself had made rules. You cannot collect cash below 100,000 from the counter. So you must use the ATM. So we are not giving people choices here. I can decide not to use ATM at all.
Well, the banks say that the 65 naira charge is to help with maintenance of these machines, which is the reason why they actually, encourage their customers to, as much as possible, use their own ATMs, so that it makes it less strenuous on them. Because if you have to go and use another person's ATM, you have to pay.
Well, you see, the thing is, there are some banks that have large numbers of customers, especially banks in the rural areas. We have some traditional banks that have been there for ages and have taken over maybe 80% of the banking populace in that area. And then you have a new bank that is just coming in and is just making little inroads. You find out that even the smaller banks deploy more ATMs than the big ones. And the succor was for people to go to the ATMs of the smaller banks where they can withdraw. If you have to go to your own bank, I won't mention names here, but you know what I'm talking about. You see long queues. I've traveled out of Lagos and I've gone to the rural area to get money. And the whole idea is that I've learned to now carry my cash from Lagos. Because when you get there, you queue. It's a long queue. You may spend up to 25 minutes to collect
Mr.
money.
Alimi, that's also very dangerous. Well, apart from the fact that it services...
Don't worry, I don't carry a lot of money.
the banks, it also services the service providers who we have to use InterSwitch and the rest of them. But we're far out of time. I really would have loved us to talk about his financial requirement for the operation of BDCs in the country. But hopefully we'll have another chance to look at Mr. Godwin Emefiele's philosophy. Maybe when he's done 250 days in office, we'll come back and talk about it again. But thank you so much, gentlemen, for coming on the program this morning. Mr. Gabriel Idahosa and Mr. Dele Alimi. It's been a pleasure. We've been looking at the monetary policy issues and, of course, looking at Mr. Godwin Emefiele's philosophy in the last over 100 days or so. And I've been speaking with Gabriel Idahosa. He's an economist and he's the Chief Executive Officer of UHY Maji & Co. Limited, and also the Director Trade and Promotion of the Lagos Chamber of Commerce and Industry, Mr. Dele Alimi. But that's the program for today. Thank you so much for being a part of it. I'm Harriet Agbeni.